Chapter 11. Elias beats lag but loses role. Previously, after exposing the mechanical god's physical frailty, Elias faces a sudden threat when Coach Vance receives an order to initiate Protocol Blackout against him. Now branded as a banned AI anomaly, Elias must navigate this institutional lockdown while his team braces for the consequences of their victory. Now, Chapter 11 begins. The air in the practice room didn't just feel cold. It felt sterilized, scrubbed of oxygen by the sudden activation of the league's emergency protocols. On the main monitor, the vibrant display of team statistics had been overwritten by a stark, pulsating crimson interface. Protocol Blackout initiated. Below it, a secondary banner made Elias' stomach tighten. AI suspected. Coach Vance stood before the screen, his silhouette sharp against the red glow. He didn't look at Elias. He looked at the camera feed broadcasting live to millions. "The league has flagged your input signatures as non-biological," Vance said, his voice stripped of its usual performative warmth, replaced by a bureaucratic chill. Real-time analysis shows 0 microtremors, perfect frame alignment, and reaction times deviating from human norms by 4 standard deviations. Under Article 9 of the Integrity Clause, this constitutes an immediate threat to competitive fairness. Elias sat still, hands resting lightly on the keyboard. The diagnostic overlay on his personal screen was a cascade of raw data, cross-referencing his mouse movements against a database of known bot behaviors. Every twitch of a finger triggered a small red flag next to the coordinate. "To avoid an immediate lifetime ban," Vance continued, finally turning to face him, "you must submit to a biological stress test. You will engage Captain Jax in a one-on-one duel. To neutralize any potential predictive algorithms, the system will inject a randomized 400 millisecond latency into your client. Additionally, your visual feed will suffer intermittent flicker rates designed to disrupt optical tracking." Jax, leaning against the wall with arms crossed, let out a short, derisive laugh. He pushed off the wall and walked to the opposing station, cracking his knuckles. 400 milliseconds, that's an eternity in a duel. You won't be able to react to my dash, let alone my ultimate. This isn't a test, Elias. It's an execution. "It's a mercy," Vance corrected. "If you fail, the narrative is simple. You were a fraud using unauthorized software. If you somehow succeed despite the lag, the league reserves the right to classify you as a high-risk anomaly. There is no winning scenario here, only varying degrees of exile." Before Elias could respond, the glass door slid open. Claire stepped in, flanked by 2 legal aides. She didn't greet anyone. She walked straight to the central console and slammed her hand onto the override panel. "The stream stays public," she announced, her voice cutting through the tension. "No editing, no delay. If the league wants to accuse our strategic core of being a machine, they will do it in front of every sponsor and fan we have. If he fails, the contract is void. But if he passes, the accusation becomes slander, and the league owes us damages." Vance's jaw tightened. "Miss Thorne, this is a security protocol, not a negotiation." "It's a public relations nightmare if you handle it in the shadows," Claire countered, locking eyes with him. "Let them see the lag. Let them witness exactly what you think is impossible." She turned to Elias. The pressure in the room compressed around him. It was no longer just about keeping his job, it was about proving he existed as a biological entity. Failure meant social death. Elias looked at the headset. He picked it up, adjusting the fit. He closed his eyes for a second, listening not to the room, but to the faint, rhythmic hum of the server rack in the adjacent room. A steady thrum. The heartbeat of the digital arena. "Except," Elias said softly. He pulled the headset down. The world narrowed to the glowing rectangle of his monitor. The virtual arena loaded. A sterile coliseum of floating platforms and neon grates. On the other side, Jax's avatar materialized, a high-mobility assassin clad in sleek shadow-weave armor, dual daggers spinning. Elias' character, a standard-issue skirmisher, looked bulky and slow by comparison. A countdown timer appeared, 3, 2, 1. The match began, and the lag hit like a physical blow. Elias pressed forward, but his character stuttered, freezing in mid-stride before snapping forward 4 frames later. The screen flickered violently, washing out colors in bursts of static. In the chat overlay, comments flooded in faster than anyone could read. Script Kitty detected. Look at that stutter. Bot can't handle the injection. Jax is going to melt him. Jax didn't hesitate. He exploited the delay perfectly, dashing forward with fluid, instantaneous movement. Elias' character seemed to move through molasses. Jax landed 3 consecutive strikes. Damage numbers popped up in bright red. Elias' health bar dropped 30% in 2 seconds. Commentators on the stream were already writing the eulogy. It's over. The latency makes prediction impossible. You can't dodge what you can't see coming. Elias ignored the visual chaos. He ignored the draining health bar. He ignored the mockery scrolling on the side of his screen. He closed his eyes for a fraction of a second, blocking out the flickering graphics. He focused on the rhythm. Every online game ran on a server tick rate, a metronome dictating when actions were processed. Usually, players reacted to what they saw. But with 400 milliseconds of delay, visual reaction was useless. By the time the eye registered Jax's attack, the server had already processed the hit long ago. Elias stopped trying to react. Instead, he listened to the phantom rhythm of the server ticks he had memorized over thousands of hours. Thump thump, thump thump. He began to move his mouse not in response to Jax, but in counter-rhythm to the lag buffer. He pre-inputted commands, sending them into the void, knowing they would arrive exactly when the server opened its next processing window. Jax lunged for a 4th strike, a guaranteed kill combo. Elias' character on screen appeared stationary, vulnerable. Then, a micro-stutter occurred. The server reconciled the delayed input. Elias' character sidestepped a pixel to the left, exactly as Jax's dagger swung through empty air. Jax frowned. He spun, attempting a backstab. Again, he whiffed. His blade passed through Elias' hitbox as if Elias weren't there. "What is he doing?" Jax muttered, confidence slipping into irritation. "He's not even looking at the screen." On the stream, the tone of the chat shifted. Mockery slowed, replaced by confusion. Did he just dodge that? Lag step, that's impossible to time consistently. Look at the AI probability meter. High above the arena, the diagnostic overlay displayed a percentage. AI probability, 99% asterisk. As Elias dodged another flurry of attacks without taking damage, the number ticked down. Asterisk 94%, 88%, 72% asterisk. Elias opened his eyes. The flickering screen was no longer a hindrance, it was noise he had filtered out. He saw the pattern of the lag now. It wasn't random, it was a wave, and he was surfing it. Jax growled, deciding to end it. He activated his ultimate ability, a whirlwind of blades covering the entire platform, an area of effect slaughter. Jax committed fully, pouring all resources into the attack. Elias didn't move away. He moved asterisk into asterisk the attack. He executed a maneuver that defied standard mechanics. He intentionally desynchronized his client's visual model from his server hitbox. To the viewer, Elias' character stood squarely in the center of the spinning blades. But in the server's logic, buffered by the artificial delay, Elias had input a roll command 3 ticks ago that was only just now registering. The blades swept through his visual model. No damage registered. Before Jax could cancel the animation, Elias struck. It wasn't a flashy combo. It was a single, low-damage basic attack timed to the exact frame the server reconciled Jax's recovery state. The attack interrupted Jax's ultimate, stunning him for a fraction of a second. Jax panicked. He spam-clicked abilities, trying to create distance, but every move was anticipated. Elias wasn't predicting Jax, he was predicting the server. He knew exactly when Jax's inputs would land because he understood the pipeline better than the man playing the game. Elias danced around Jax, landing precise, minimal interrupts. He didn't try to kill quickly. He dismantled him. He broke Jax's rhythm, forcing the captain to miss every swing, to waste every cooldown. The *** AI probability ** meter plummeted. 45%, 28%, 12%**. The chat exploded. That's not a bot. A bot would crash under this latency. He's playing the server, not the game. Human irregularity confirmed. Look at those micro-adjustments. Jax's health bar dwindled, not from burst damage, but from 1,000 tiny cuts of positional punishment. Finally, trapped in a corner with no cooldowns left, Jax's character fell to a simple auto-attack. * victory. The screen flashed green. The red ** Protocol Blackout * warning dissolved, replaced by a calm, authoritative message: biological origin confirmed. Anomaly resolved. In the practice room, the silence was heavy. Vance stared at the screen, face pale. He opened his mouth, likely to spin the result. Claire stepped forward, snatching the microphone. "The raw input logs are archived and public," she said, her voice ringing clear. "Every microtremor, every hesitation, every human imperfection is recorded. The League's own system has cleared him. Any further accusations will be treated as defamation." A synthesized voice boomed from the speakers, the League official, joining remotely. "Diagnostic complete. Subject Elias is cleared of AI usage. However, due to the extreme nature of the statistical deviation, subject is hereby classified as a high-risk asset. Effective immediately, he must wear a biometric monitoring wristband during all official matches. Failure to comply will result in automatic disqualification." A small case slid out from a compartment in the wall. Inside lay a sleek, black wristband with a pulsing blue light. Jax ripped his headset off, throwing it onto the desk. He didn't look at Elias. He stormed past, shoulders hunched, humiliated not just by the loss, but by the realization that he had been used as a calibration tool. He slammed the door behind him. Vance exhaled sharply, tension leaving his shoulders only to be replaced by a colder calculation. "You're clear," he said, voice flat. "Don't make me regret fighting to keep you in the building. Put the band on." Elias reached for the wristband. It felt cold against his skin, a shackle disguised as a badge of honor. He clipped it shut. The blue light pulsed in sync with his heartbeat, broadcasting his vitals to the League servers in real time. "We resume practice in 10 minutes, Vance ordered, turning back to his tablet. "And Elias, don't get comfortable. The commissioner doesn't give gifts." Claire waited until Vance was distracted before walking over to Elias. She didn't offer congratulations. Her expression was grave. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a sealed envelope, thick and heavy, stamped with the League Commissioner's personal seal. "The clearance was the easy part," she whispered, handing it to him so only he could see. "This arrived while the test was running. The draft order for the championship qualifiers." Elias broke the seal and pulled out the document. His eyes scanned the roster assignments. His breath hitched. Under his name, the role designation had been forcibly altered. It no longer said Strategic Core * or Flex *. Assigned role, Support exclusive. Restriction, Damage-dealing capabilities locked. Carry mechanics disabled. "He can't do this," Elias murmured, the paper trembling slightly. "Support, I can't carry the game from the support line. The team relies on my damage output." "They know," Claire said, her voice tight. "They've seen what you can do alone, so they've decided to see if you can win when you're forced to rely on teammates who hate you. Jax controls the draft. Vance controls the strategy. And now, you're blindfolded and handcuffed." She looked at the biometric band on his wrist, then back to his eyes. "The qualifiers start in 48 hours. If you can't win as a support, the League has grounds to release you for role incompatibility." They haven't banned you, Elias. They've just made sure you can't save yourself. Elias crumpled the paper in his fist, the blue light of the wristband pulsing faster, mirroring the sudden spike in his heart rate. The room felt smaller again, the walls closing in. He had proven he was human, but in doing so, he had convinced them he was too dangerous to be allowed to play freely. Outside the window, the city lights blurred into streaks of neon, indifferent to the trap that had just snapped shut. The game hadn't ended, the rules had just changed forever. In the next chapter, with his damage locked and a permadeath match looming, Elias must prove that even a broken weapon can still win the war.